welcome to Bear Clooney Watches channel. I am Bear Clooney here with a breaking horological news. Just kidding. But the breaking horological news did happen yesterday, and today I'm here to give Bear Clooney's take on it. What are the breaking horological news, you ask? You don't know? Well, Omega Watch Company has announced they are going to reissue a very famous 321 caliber movement. Watch enthusiasts are going crazy about this. Why? Well, let me try to explain. This movement is very historical, very important, and a very solidly built watch movement. So, why is it historical? Well, this is a movement which was used in a Speedmaster on the Apollo missions. This is the first movement that was utilized in walks on the moon. And it ran for a relatively short time, for about 11 years. So when it comes to the whole concept of the movements of very famous iconic watch such as Speedmaster, it had the shortest run. Some people naively are saying that the movement was changed because it was slightly incompetent. That's not true. The reason, what was the main reason that they went from the movement 321 to 861 was because of the ease of manufacturing and servicing. Movement 861 is much more approachable, easier to service, and cost of production is significantly less. So that was the predominant reason for change from 321 to 861. This happened in 1969. So last time this movement was produced and used in a famous watch such as Speedmaster and some other was 1969. So obviously this movement has become iconic. It's become liked and much needed in the world of collectors. Now, is there a significant difference to us watch lovers when it comes to the build, to the overall look of this movement? Not really. I mean, these are similar movements. They're all very well built, they're strong, they're reliable, they've all been used in the outer space. But as I said, the caliber 321 was the first iteration. It's the most sought, also because it features a column wheel, it has more elaborate bridges, it's more complicated to service, as I mentioned, and that was the reason why they changed it. And that would be about it. So historically, this movement has its significance. Also, the ease of service. It's not more accurate, it's not more reliable, but it is more beautiful and in some intangible way more special than 861 and 1861. So for those who are movement obsessed, this is a very, very must-have movement in their collection. And especially for people who are into Omega and vintage timepieces. Now, when it came to the change between the 861 and 1861 in the year of 1996, that was significantly less of a change. It was just that the new movement was rhodium-plated rather than being a copper-plated movement. So why and what this movement represents to the collectors comes from the fact that it was a movement which was originally in a Speedmaster when man first walked on the moon. It was part of the most of Apollo missions and prior to that Gemini missions in the space. Also, what's important to know it is that this movement is technically a little bit of a superior movement than the other ones. Now, to the novice, they don't look very different. They really don't. And to prove that, I'm going to kind of run a short slide on all three movements, 321, 861, and 1861, so you can actually visually see it, and just add a couple of more comments in regards to this movement. So here is that 321 movement, which is the cause of all the commotion and interest among the watch enthusiasts. This is the predicted reissue of movement 321 by Omega. And it truly does look beautiful. And here we see the vintage 321. Technically, there is nearly zero advantage to the 321 when it's compared to 861 and 1861. The column wheel is a much desired thing with collectors, but the cam switching on the 861 and 1861 works just as well. The 321 has an overcoil on the balance spring, but still uses regulation spins, so it's not free sprung. The only real advantages over an 861, 1861 is perhaps an adjustable mass balance, so poising is a bit easier using washers instead of drilling holes in the balance wheel. The changes that are from 321 to 861 were more for the purposes of manufacturing efficiencies and cost reductions. And the difference between 861 and 1861 is that the parts are all rhodium plated rather than being copper plated. So you see what I mean? I mean, for us who are not deep into it, there are differences, but they are not significant. Now, why is this big news? What do I think is going to happen? I'm going to give you my personal view on it, my personal opinion. It is a big news because they are for the 50th anniversary of the man's landing on the moon, going to reissue a historical movement which was on the wrist of that man when he made first step on the moon. No question about it. Why else is it important? Because we haven't seen it since 1969. So for someone like me, who loves reissuing vintage timepieces, who loves new representation of something that was so historical and iconic, this is a wonderful gift. Also, for someone who doesn't have 321 movement in their collection, this is also a wonderful news because they are not cheap. So, coming from Omega, my expectation is there's going to be one limited edition option, but they're not going to invest and produce this new movement, putting it just into limited edition. There's going to be mass production of this movement. And very soon, watches with 321 will end up on a gray market, as many Omega watches do. The price will be dropping 40 to 50%. And 321 movement is going to become more and more approachable. This is bad news for collectors holding 321 movements, because ultimately their value, in my humble opinion, is going to depreciate through the time. As Omega is not Rolex, they're not controlling their distribution. They're not trying to maintain the value of their watches. Very soon, we will see 3-to-1 movements with 40–50% off the retail. And consequently, those who are holding these precious movements up to now will be in situation to see value of their watches dropping. This is Bear Clooney's prediction. I might be wrong, but knowing the trends, knowing how Omega approaches things, knowing what Omega does with their watches, it's hard to believe that this is not going to be overproduced, and it's hard to believe that it's going to be used exclusively for that limited edition that's going to come out this year as a result of 50th anniversary of the landing on the moon. So that's my take. For some people, this is awesome news. For some people, it's at the moment awesome news, but I think it's going to end up being not so awesome. Caliber 3-to-1 is definitely a big news in the watch world, and it is creating excitement on so many levels. That's a good thing for us watch geeks. It's always fun to see something new and interesting happening. And Omega, which creates its collectability from inside the watch up to now, based on that type of movement, to put that movement out in a public and let us know that they are issuing is definitely a big, explosive start of the year 2019 for this brand. I welcome it. I look forward paying 40–50% off for a nice Omega watch holding the 3-to-1 movement. I think it's going to be great. And sorry for those who are probably going to lose certain value on their vintage timepiece. That's it from Bear Clooney. That's my take. I like to hear your opinion. I'd like to see what you think and read about what you think about this. So please make your comments in the section below. If you like this video, please don't forget to click on like. And if you did not subscribe, please do. I very much appreciate your support. At the end, all the best to all of you. Hey guys, look what came here to Northern Ontario from the flyover states. Cardinal Cliver is including Bear Clooney in the fraternity of cardinals. Hopefully I don't get defrocked as Cliver did. Thank you, Cliver, for a really thoughtful gift with a genuinely nice meaning. I really appreciate it. Advice to you, Cliver, get rid of that 3-to-1 because I think they're going to plummet in their value. I know you disagree with me, but you might thank Bear Clooney one day. And that's it. Bear says, go away.